There's a lot of people with opinions on how you should do lead generation and, you know, where to get leads from and how to get your listings. Be careful who you take advice from. You should be taking advice from someone you aspire to be. And what are the top tips you would give to an agent that really wants to focus on this year, right? And how can you make your database a huge part of your business?
For somebody who doesn't even really have one, you have a phone and you probably have Facebook and you have a friends list. And I can tell you right now, there's a dozen people either in your phone or your Facebook list that are going to buy or sell something this year. Pick your heart. You want to stay broke? You want to make money in real estate? The only way to go to a closing is to have a conversation. You never had a closing that didn't start with a conversation. Be authentic, be you. You have something to offer.
All right, folks, we are back. I've got a great one for you today. We have returning guest to the show, Maria Quattrone from Philly. And Maria, last time she was on, she was talking about a really cool thing she did. Basically, was it a 100-day challenge, like 100 days of prospecting, and kind of, what the results were. And, I don't want to, brag on your behalf, Maria. You had a monster 2025. So it doesn't surprise me. You had a really great year because you were working on it every single day, right? And you were documenting it. You were putting it out into the universe. And I love that, right? I don't know if that was your intention, or it was like group accountability or public accountability.
Yeah.
I found that very inspiring. They go, oh, holy cow, and you would put it in there. How many hours, how many dials you made, how long you were on the phone. And sometimes it was a little while in the morning. Sometimes it was late at night. Like you said, you were going to stop, right? So that was really cool to see. That's what we talked about last time. But this time we have a new piece of content out there, which I thought was great enough that I said, hey, I want to share this with my audience because they got to check this out. And, for those that are wondering, I'll post a link, in the show notes, in the comments. If you're watching this on Facebook, I'll post a link for you. You can get it, but it's basically a PDF, right? And it's a great title, Get More Listings Now. That's, can't beat that. And it's basically a 7-day action plan to book more listing appointments. And I think this is great. And these are, some really great strategies to build a massive listing business. But I think the most important thing is who it's coming from, because you can say a lot of things on how to get listings. I think people maybe they know a bunch of ways to get listings. No, right? But I think it's rare when they see someone executing at the highest level and they get access to that. That's rare. Okay. So Maria, for people that might not know who you are, why don't you give people a reminder, who you are, what does your business look like? What did your 2025 look like? And I want to, kind of work through this really great PDF you made.
Okay. So first of all, Gustavo, thanks again for having me on. I appreciate it. And it's always a pleasure to see you and to share with your audience. So a couple things. One, what you were referring to was I booked 100 listing appointments in the month of March last year. Okay. And why is that important?
It wasn't even 100. It was 30 days. Holy cow. 31 days.
30 days. I actually booked 132 listing appointments. And I count an appointment for any property I have to do a set of comps for. So somebody could have 4, but that's 4. This is 4 listings, unless it's a portfolio, and then that's only 1. Anyway, I ended up doing 132 in a 30-day period. And I set out to do 100. And so that story was the catalyst for 2025's total of 192 signed listing contracts. And if I can go back, because I want to give people a progression, in 2024, it was 160. And in 2023, it was 130. And then I don't know what 22 was. I'll have to go back and look. But 3 years is like 130, 160, 192. Wow. And so you're generally not going to go from 100 to 200 in a year time. Generally not. Because it's a different cadence. You need different systems. You need different processes. But my system didn't change between 130. I made things tighter to get to 160. And then I made things not much different from 160 to 192. Okay. So it starts with this. People say, well, what's your why? Don't have a why. My why is I get up and do the work every day, whatever that means for that day. Okay. I document my day. I track it in the calendar. Most days are pretty much like Groundhog Day. Same thing every day. Get up, go to the office, make the calls, do the comps, have the appointments, make more calls, do more comps until my day's over between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. Unless I have like client dinner or an event or something like that, then I usually wrap up by 6. But look, it's 5:28. It's Friday, and here we are. I'm still here. I'm in my office right now. That's where I'm sitting. I'm actually in the kitchen
So,
because we're getting set up for an event we're having here tomorrow. Because we
wow.
moved. I moved my license from my Remax franchise in December 19th into LPT Realty. Because I don't want to sign with them for 5 more years, and I wanted a little more flexibility, and I wanted to be with a company that was a little forward, more thinking. Anyway, that's another topic for another day. Not here to talk about that, but that's what we're doing. So we're having like a little event
Cool.
tomorrow all day. We'll be here,
Love
and
it.
you know
And Maria, let's give people some context because you throw the number out there, 192 listings, and I want to give people some context around that number. I mean, are you part of a team? Is there like another 5 agents, helping you out? Or, because I want people, 192 listings is a really impressive number. But is this you're basically a one-woman show? Are there any other licensed agents working for you right now, part of a larger team? This is just you setting these appointments and attending these appointments, right?
So the way that we work in my office, I'm the main listing agent, but agents can take listings as well. And
Got it.
so the 192 is my personal production. And
Wow.
I do have an assist. I have a couple assistants. I do also have a person that works with me. She's been working with me for 9 years, and she handles like the inspection to the contract to
Gotcha.
close portion.
Love that.
And I have field services that, somebody on staff that does all our photos, pictures, boxes, all that kind of stuff. So
Love it.
I do have a team around me.
But you're the only salesperson. How about that? Like you're
I'm
you're
I'm the
you're
only
the listing agent.
in regards to these listings, I'm the only salesperson. My
Got it.
my
Got it.
partner who takes care of the back end of the listings, she's been in the business a really long time, Dara Ellis, and I often will say to her, "Hey, Dara, look at the comps. I want to see what your thoughts are on it. Some of them are tricky, you know."
Yeah.
And we'll she'll look at them, I'll look at them, and then we'll write our numbers down independently and then compare notes to see if we're off target, if we're on the same page,
Yeah.
and
That's
where we are.
crazy.
But
And running comps and doing this, I mean, like you said, some properties are trickier than others, but just the sheer volume that you do, that just makes you better at it, right? Just the amount of times you actually run comps, you just become that much better at it. And give people some context in Philadelphia, right? Because some people might be saying, oh, maybe it's like a COVID bust town where homes aren't getting sold. You can get a listing, listings are falling off the tree. Give us an idea what kind of a market you're in, to give people some context as well. What is it, a
well,
buyer's market there, a seller's market?
it depends on the neighborhood and depends on the price point. Um, it's definitely a harder market this year for
Mm,
everything, for buyers, for sellers, for I don't know. People are afraid to talk about this. I'm not afraid to talk about it or pretty much anything. But it's psychology, right? It's psychology.
100%. I
It's
got you. I got you.
uncertainty.
So more balanced than it was before. A little bit more of a balanced market than in prior years.
I would say it's definitely more balanced. Probably definitely more on the buyer's side now.
Gotcha. 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 Gotcha.
Listings are harder, getting much, much harder.
Gotcha.
And people that thought that they would sell this spring, you know, are still sitting on the fence because of the uncertainty in the world.
Gotcha. 100%. 100%. So, not a clear cut. Oh, this is a crazy seller's market. Oh, this is a crazy buyer's market. It's somewhere in the middle. And like you said, very
Somewhere in the middle,
sensitive to price point and neighbor location and price point dependent, of course.
and of course, it's also somewhere in the middle, but and there's a gap.
I
There's a
got
gap
you.
there. And
Got you.
so it's trying to bridge that gap, and that takes time. It may take many offers to get that bridged. You know, with that offer that came in at 468 at the time, didn't seem like a good idea. But now we're priced at 470. Probably should have taken that 468 offer.
Gotcha.
That's a real
Gotcha.
life
100%.
example.
Yeah.
And just to put some context out there, Gustavo, 192 listings in this industry is 0.01% of the agent population.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's
Oh,
one
forget about
tenth of 1%.
I think, a quarter of that number is like 1%, like top 1%, like listings taken in a single year. Like you're already 1%, right? If you're like in the, 30, 40, 50 listings in a year. So yeah, it's an outlier of an outlier of an outlier, right? And you have a very unique team setup that helps support you, right? As the main salesperson going on these appointments. And you have a great team on the operational side, right? On the operations side, because you have a lot of support,
Right.
people that great experience, so you can focus on the
I
on the
focus
fun
on
part
it,
of it.
and the agents we have a few other agents in our office here, and I teach them. I teach them how to
Mm.
do it, and I'll give them properties that are layups. Like I've already talked to seller. I just need you to go out, get the paperwork signed. I send them
Cool.
out the paperwork. I give them opportunities to learn. I don't know where anybody else does that, giving
Yeah,
their listings away.
that's great. And there's advantages at scale, right? Like, if you're
Mhm.
only taking 2 or 3 listings a month, it's handing those off is a little bit harder, a different proposition than doing tens and twenties, on any given month. So I love that. So I mean, I think we've set the table. I think people kind of understand kind of where you're coming from, because I think in this industry, Maria, it really matters who you take advice from. Right? There's a lot of people with opinions on how you should do lead generation, and where to get leads from, and how to get your listings. I always tell folks, especially if it's online, be careful who you take advice from, right? You should be taking advice from someone you aspire to be, not just from a random person on a Facebook group or online or somewhere else, right? So I think that's so important, because you put out a piece of content. I love this Get More Listings Now PDF. And it's a great one, right? I think it's a really, really good one. I see a lot of these pieces of content every day. I'm not gonna lie. I see a ton of these things. And I'm like, this one, because it's coming from you, like, you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk at a 0.01% level, right? At that level, then this matters a lot to me. It hits different than someone else just saying, hey, these are the best ways I would take listings. What does that even mean? No, this is a proven method, right? So let's jump into it. I want to help unpack this, for the audience. Let's check it out, because you mentioned like the top 5 lead sources you would recommend, right? If you want to get listings right away, you mentioned 5 great lead sources where your next listing is coming from. And I want to kind of hit those kind of one by one, and kind of pick your brain on what are the top tips you would give to an agent that really wants to focus on this year, right? So number one, and I love that you put this as number one, because Maria, so this is what I could tell this was a real list, because when people are trying to sell you something and like give you the latest flavor of the month for lead generation, they never start with your personal database. You put that as number one, okay? And I'm like, okay, this is a real list. This is a real talk, right? This is real, because you didn't go out there and find some AI driven, chat bot enabled lead source. It's just like, hey, number one should be your personal database. The seasoned opportunities, you call it the seasoned opportunities. So what do you mean by your database? What do you mean by the seasoned opportunities? And a lot of agents are scratching their head saying, what do you mean database? Like what? Like what? Unpack that for people. And how can you make your database a huge part of your business?
So for me, I have a big database I've been working on for many years. But for somebody who doesn't even really have one, you have a phone, and you probably have Facebook, and you have a friends list. And I can tell you right now, there's a dozen people either in your phone or your Facebook list that are going to buy or sell something this year. At minimum.
100%.
At
I think so.
minimum. And so not ignoring those people. And here's something that people can do, like really, really simple. Agents will call their database and say, hey, who do you know that's buying or selling this year? And then everybody says, I don't know. And
Nothing.
and then nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
And so what if you, instead of doing that, then you called and said, hey, Gustavo, how you doing? You're like,
Hey,
oh,
doing
how you
great.
doing, Maria? Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, no, things are going well. I said, you know what? If you had a hunch, like if you thought, like, who do you think that might they just might buy or they might be thinking about selling this year? Is there anybody, if you had a guess, would be one of those people?
I get a chuckle out of me, like, yeah. Well,
It's
you
a
asked me
different
in a different
approach,
way.
right? Because
Yeah.
you're not putting them on the spot.
Yeah.
They're guessing. They're like, oh well,
Yes.
Bobby and Susie, they're having a baby. They might be selling. You know?
Moving up.
Oh,
That one bedroom studio ain't gonna cut it anymore, right? That one bedroom studio is probably not gonna be enough.
Jane and Sam, I think they're on their way to divorce. They might be selling
Three
because now people,
transactions right there.
right? So people like to guess, like they like
Yeah.
playing like a guessing game,
Yeah.
like so. It's a way to easily talk to people and not be, salesy and just
Yeah.
like one of the things I think is missing is like be the person's friend, like really care about people. I was at a listing appointment the other day. I went to the guy's house. His wife died 2 years ago. And I'm sitting there at the dining room table with him. He offered me a cup of coffee. I'm like, sure, I'll have a cup of coffee. And we're sitting there talking, and I'm just showing him the comms. And I'm like, you know, really just matching his energy. And he's like sitting there. He's like, you're so nice. He's like, you're such a nice lady. I didn't know that you would be this nice.
I didn't expect this. I didn't expect you're gonna be, coming,
No,
gonna
people
come
say
in
this.
guns
They thought I
blazing,
would be more like, uh, you know,
hard hitting. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
because people know they see my signs around town. They know I do a lot of business, and they picture me. And then they ask me, "Are you gonna talk to us again?" Like I said, "Yeah, until we go under contract, you'll hear from me."
Yeah, 100%,
They
right?
wonder if like you'll ever hear from me, and that's not. They just want to know if I'm handing them off to somebody. They don't care either
Yeah.
way, most people. But
Yeah.
I said, no, not until we have the contract. So,
We'll
the,
keep in touch.
the database, I think it's a way for you to get immediate business right now and not sit there. And the key is you gotta call the people.
Oh
And
yeah.
these people are actually going to answer the phone and take your call. They're the
Like,
easiest call to make.
I'm, and that is so true. And people, they might miss that, right? Because, when I was, and I measured this when I was an active agent, I had a 90% close rate on my database. And I think, I was lacking skill. I should have been 100% with my personal, people, friends, family, people I knew. It was like a 90% close rate. If they were going to do anything, it was going to be with me. Right. Because they already knew, liked, and trusted me. They knew, liked, and trusted me. You compare that to like an internet lead, like a 1%, conversion rate, or if you went on an appointment, a 25% conversion rate, which is pretty good if you're talking to people you've never met before in your life, like on the listing side, like that is like 20-30% is a decent conversion rate. It's people that have never met you, they have no idea who you are. I think that's a different expectation. But if your personal database should be double, triple that, because you're going in with an unfair advantage, right? You're going in with an unfair advantage. They already know, like, and trust you. But I think, Maria, the biggest thing that I see, the biggest hang up isn't at the listing presentation. It isn't, meeting them up. It's people don't even pick up the phone and call them. They don't even make the call. It's not even that they failed the script or that they don't convert them as a listing or a buyer. It's not that. It's they don't even pick up the phone because of what you just said. I feel that's because I don't want to be that guy. Calling everybody. I don't want to be the multi-level marketer. I don't want to be the network marketer, the family marketer. No, 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 that's not me. And I think that's such a huge mistake because the phone ends up weighing 10,000 pounds for them. Like they can't even pick it up. They've dropped their, preconceived notions, right? And this really weird frame, and they can't even get themselves to make the call. What would you say to someone that has never called their database, right? And they're listening to this. How would you get them to help that phone weigh a little bit less?
Well, pick your heart. Pick your heart. Like, do you want to stay broke? You want to make money in real estate? Because the only way to go to a closing is to have a conversation. You never had a closing that didn't start with a conversation. You got to talk to a lot of people. And today you got to talk to more people. And
100%.
if you're calling your database, they're a warm person, a warm lead, a warm opportunity. I hate using the word lead. I use the word opportunity. They're a warm
Love it.
opportunity. They also, you call and be like, hey, what's up? You guys booked your summer vacation yet? I saw Susie had her prom last week. I loved her dress, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
Say something. Actually care. Comment on their social. Like, this isn't just, it's not a one trick pony show. It's like, live it. Be one of the most important things I tell people, be authentic, be you. You have something to offer. You have everything you need. It's inside of you. And the most expensive real estate that you own is from here to here, in between your ears, is your brain. And this is
Yeah.
the most expensive thing that we own. And I leave with the mantra, be the solution.
I
Be
love
the
it.
solution. How did I come up with that? Because I targeted when I was very young in my career, 2 years in, expired listings. Expired listings still, to this day, I love them. In
I
fact,
love it.
the two that I went on Monday, both expired. Well, no, one was canceled and you treated canceled like an expired. One was canceled, one was expired. The other listing I took on Waller Street, that was also canceled. 3 canceled listings. Let's see. The other one that got signed, that was somebody in the database that raised their hand from expired from 3 years ago.
That's crazy.
And
And I
then,
want to get to those expired. But Maria, I want to drill into something you just said, which I think is that's a great frame. You want to be the solution, right?
yeah,
You want to you want to help. So solution means you're solving a problem for them. You're helping them. I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that making these calls is taking from someone. Like, because that's a call nobody wants to make. I don't want to make a bunch of calls begging for stuff, right? No, no, no. You've got the wrong mantra. I got the wrong because whether you say it or not, the mantra you're telling yourself, the story you're telling yourself that you want to take from people, and you have nothing of value to offer. That's what I really think people are thinking. I love the way that you framed it. No, be the solution, right? Like offer them. You have something valuable to offer them. Your
something
advice and your
extremely,
experience, and that's
extremely
worth a
valuable.
ton.
Not
Yeah.
only that, okay, they're getting what I have is 34 years in sales and marketing, 23 years in real estate, my network of people, my connections of people, not to mention my expertise, my knowledge, my business acumen, my marketing skills, right? My skills on understanding the market, understanding absorption, understanding how to walk them through, empathy. That's my intellectual property. That's worth more than the commission. And I don't care if you're even paying me $50,000 commission. My knowledge is worth way more than that. And when somebody doesn't want to pay me, I'm just like, see ya, bye. I don't care.
That's crazy. That's
I
crazy.
don't, because I believe that good thing. My name is Maria Quattrone, and only good things happen for me. And my mind is worth $1 billion. And so I have a mindset that I have something to help you with. If you want it, great. If you don't, I'm not here to convince you about it. I demonstrate it through the conversation. My
Yeah.
rapport is built through the demonstration, through the conversation of my knowledge and expertise. I don't have to pretend to like the Philadelphia Flyers because you like them.
I love it.
It's really learning to connect with people on a high level and believing that you are the best to help them. And it's a
100%.
mindset.
And I love it because you come off with a lot of confidence. I see the confidence coming through, and I love one of your mantras, which is here in the PDF. Confidence comes after courage. Okay,
Right.
so can you unpack that a little bit? Like because you come Maria, you're a force of nature. You come off as a really confident agent, but I love this too. Confidence comes after courage, not before. What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. You have to have the courage to take the first step to make that call. Put yourself out
100%.
there. That is how you build confidence by the reps of doing it. But you need to have the courage to start. You don't need confidence to start. You just need to have the courage. And it's one day, one client, 1 hour, one phone call at a time. And when you do it 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, I made 5,089 phone calls last year.
Wow. Holy cow.
And I talked to half of that many people. But my let's say eight, I don't have the numbers in front of me right this second, but 882 conversations or people, not conversations, because I could have had two with them, it would have been 1,600. So let's say 882 people turned into 192 listings. It's a 22%
Wow.
conversion.
That's really good. Because a lot of these are unmet leads.
That's from
People don't even know,
appointment.
right?
That's from
Yeah.
like a conversation, right? That's a very,
Conversation.
very high. Usually
Super
it's like 4% or something.
single digits, and then
Yeah.
conversion rates even lower than that, right? So I love it. Let's move on because we started with database, and that's a great one. You already touched on the second one, which is expired listings. Okay, expired listings. So Maria, the typical objections that I see to agents calling expired listings, or that are avoiding calling them, avoiding working with them, is that, oh, they're it's too much conflict. Oh, they're gonna be mad at me. Like, I don't even want to get into it. It's too hard. It's too hard for me to do. So what would you say? What's your approach with expired listings? Because when you were talking about them before, you seemed thrilled. Like, this is my jam. Expired listings is where I'm from. So how do you approach expired listings?
I love them. You have to understand. You have to understand their mindset. They were just on the market for 6 months. They didn't sell, and they're mad. They're not mad
Yeah.
at you, but most of them are mad. They're frustrated. They don't even know what's going on. They may never heard from the agent ever again. Nobody told them. They could have told them it's priced too high. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Maybe nobody told them that, you can't only have showings on 3 days a week. Who knows? You have to diagnose the problem. You can't know if you can help them unless you diagnose the problem. So it's like treating it like you're the doctor, I'm the doctor, they have a sickness. I have to fix the problem. I got to tell them the truth. You want to get to Florida? You ain't going to get there in this condition. Not with what you got going on at this house. I got to tell people. You got to paint the floor. You got to put carpet on the floor. You got to paint the stairs. You have to. Your backyard looks like crap. You need to fix it
You
up.
gotta
Not fix it
declutter.
up,
You
but
gotta
you
clean
need to
this.
just
Gotta clean
organize
this
it.
place up. Yeah.
I mean, I just did this on Monday. I had to tell the people. I had to tell another seller. I said, I walked through the house. There was 8 lights out, 8 hi-hats out. How does? I'm like, this has to get fixed. And he's like, I didn't realize they were out. He doesn't live there. $800,000 house,
Wow.
right? So now I'm a project manager. Now I'm like managing the project. I swear, I'm kidding. But I like them because they are motivated to sell. And especially if they were on the market once, some of them twice. Like now they're like, tell me what to do. I'm so sick, right? You go to the doctor, you're so sick. Tell me what to do. That's what, and that's what they want. They want the truth. Too
Yeah.
many people tell agents, tell clients, well, not the truth. They don't tell them the truth. The truth is not, I tell people, they say, well, I need this money. I need that. I spent this, blah, blah, blah. I go, none of it matters. Doesn't matter what you spent. Doesn't matter what you owe. It doesn't matter how much you have into it. It doesn't matter how much you want. The market's going to give you what the market's going to give you. None of
True.
those things are relevant. I put it the opposite way. I said, so let's just say you paid $1 for this place, right? You paid $1.
Yeah.
Like, should you get less because you paid $1? No, you're going to get whatever the market's going to give you.
Yeah.
It's like
True.
backward analogy, but
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes I see, another issue that I found with expired listings when I was calling them is that maybe the agent that they had was giving them the right advice, but it was way too late. They went into it with a certain plan. Maybe they mispriced the property. They set the wrong expectation, and then when the agent tries to get them to nudge them in the right direction, they're just not receptive to it anymore. They don't believe them. They don't trust them at that point, right? They mismanaged the relationship, and they need someone new to come in and they'll believe them. And I see this, Maria. I see this all the time. Listing comes off the market. Let's say they're trying to get it out there at 640, comes off the market. And the listing agent's been, and I see these posts in the forums. My seller is just, they're stubborn. They don't want to budge. I'm telling them they got to go below 600 to get this property sold. They're not budging. And then the property comes back on the market and sells for 590. It just sells. Again, same property, same seller. They just didn't believe you. They didn't trust you at that point, right? They needed someone new to come in and give them the exact same message, Maria, that the other agent was giving them, except that they believe you now. Like they're open to your input, and before they just weren't. I see that happen a lot, right? Maybe the other agent was
sometimes
fine, they just weren't ready.
Sometimes that happens. They're not ready, but I see a lot of times
they avoid the conversation. They avoid altogether.
It was just wrong all from day one, and it's always not even just price. Like that's the thing. It's always not just price. It's a lot of other things. Yeah. I looked at this property. I didn't price it that much lower than it already was from the beginning, but I added a home warranty. I did a 3D video tour. It's going on Zillow Showcase. I did 3D floor plans for it. I had the place power wash front and back. Trash cans removed from the front. Got a wreath for the front door. Made sure they got all the light bulbs changed. Got the place cleaned up.
You presented it better. It just looks better.
It's all about. Oh, and my description is 4 times the length of the original one. All written for somebody who doesn't live in Philadelphia. You could be living in LA, read that thing, and know what's going on. Because that's how people don't write descriptions like that. I actually even have a document. I wrote how to write a listing description, 2 pages long. What has to be in there? I'm a crazy ninja listing agent.
You don't just take a lot of listings. As long as you have a really good process, right? And you do, even though you take a lot of listings, you do each listing at the highest level as well, right? Which really helps you get more listings too. If you do a really good job, that's usually going to help you get more business. I love it.
And I say to people, look, you have to assume 20% aren't going to sell. I canceled them. I withdrew them last year. I had one seller. I had 4. He was a complete nut. I had to get rid of him. Seriously, became was certifiable. I mean, what can I do?
Yeah.
People that decided they didn't want to follow suit, even though they said they would. People too, they lie. Yeah. So you have to count for that. So if you want to sell 100 listings a year, you need to take way more than 100 listings a year. And in today's environment, you got to be taking about $150 at least, maybe 160. So 100.
100%. Yeah.
So
if you want to bank those wins. Yeah. 100%. At that scale, it's not 100% sale. When you're selling 10 homes a year, your close rate's 100%. You're selling 10 homes a year. If you're selling 10 to 20 a month, the numbers change.
Yeah.
For sure.
The other thing is too, remember, every sign is advertising.
Oh yeah.
Every 100%. Sign is marketing. Every sign brings buyers. So I don't have to do any online lead gen. I don't do pay per click or, whatever, that kind of stuff. I don't buy. I'm not on I'm not a Zillow agent, realtor.com, none of that shit. I am strictly focused on brand. Maria Quattrone brand.
100%. And you're prospecting based. You're prospecting based, which means if you need more business, you go out and get it. And then and your marketing takes care of the rest, right? To attract people. But you're prospecting based. That's just it's a great way to build a business.
It's sustainable. It's sustainable and it's duplicatable. You can't, if you're not going to call people, you cannot, there's no way to duplicate that. It's just not going to work. And even if, say, you got a referral from somebody, And they then said, well, I'm not going to be ready for 6 months. Are you not going to just call them? Or are you just going to wait for them to call you?
Yeah,
You got to call the people. They may be introduced to somebody else.
true.
You got to call the people. And so, I actually am going to be doing a free Zoom,
Love
free
it.
training. It's called the 4-week listing accelerator. It's for 4 weeks. It starts May 13th.
I
I'm gonna
love it.
be I'm gonna be dropping that next week. Literally 4 weeks. I'm doing this, and I have my
Okay, so
book
now,
coming out in a
and
month.
we'll be publishing. So we gotta put this out in the internet before May 13th, so people have a chance for my audience to sign up for that course. And I love that you're writing a book because the stuff you've been able to accomplish. That's a story worth telling. Because this is not an easy process, and I think when people have content like that, they can, when they've had a tough day, when things didn't go their way that day, they can go back to something and go, okay, and get recharged, inspired to keep going the next day, because it's not an easy thing to do. It's a grind. And which kind of brings me to your third element here, your third lead source that you rely on, for sale by owner, right? And I see a lot of the same objections that I have with expireds. Oh, for sale by owners, they don't want any agents, they don't need any agents. So Maria, why don't you summarize what's your approach to for sale by owners, and how do
They
they make it
do.
on your list? Tell me.
They 90% end up listing. It's your job just to talk with
Okay.
them. All right, talk to them. So let me ask you a question: are you trying to sell on your own so you can save the 3%? Mostly, all of them say yes.
Yes.
So you're willing to pay a buyer's agent? Yes, I am. Okay. So all you really need to do is for us to make up 3% or whatever, 4%, 5%, 10%. And it's like, so the next question is, so how long are you going to try it yourself for? A week, 2 weeks, a month? How long are you going to do this for? Do you have a job? Like, I, I asked them, are you working? I'm like, how are you doing this in between working? I do this full time. I could never do another job. Then they laugh usually.
They
They're like,
chuckle.
yeah, people are. I said, do you know that most people that are trying to buy from a for sale by owner are trying to get a really good deal?
Yeah. Real talk. Wholesalers, investors. Yeah.
And they said, yeah, we got calls from investors. I said, yeah, because they're trying to, I'll say they're trying to steal your property. They're not trying to pay you the most. I said, I'm like
Yeah.
Macy's. We get you the most money. Like you're right now like a garage sale. You got to sign up.
Yard sale, right? Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Well, you
That's
could use this
exactly what it is.
analogy, right? You can use this
Yeah.
analogy. Okay. Gustavo, I just bought this watch, right? This watch. I didn't just buy it, but let's pretend. I just bought it
Yeah.
and it's Chanel ceramic watch.
Nice.
Okay. And let's just say this watch was $10,000. Just bought it. I have the box. In fact, the box is right here. And I just put it on today at work, but you know what? I gotta sell it. I
Didn't
gotta
like it.
sell it. Something came up and I gotta sell it. And I just paid yesterday 10 grand for it. How much you gonna pay for it?
Not 10 grand.
Why
I
not?
know
I
the
just
answer to
paid
that
10
one.
grand.
Yeah. If I want 10 grand, I'll go to Macy's. you know?
I just paid the 10 grand. You want a discount.
Yeah.
They want a discount, Gustavo,
100%.
on your house.
Like at the yard
So,
sale. The yard sales are for deals. That's what a yard sale is for.
yep, they want a garage sale, garage yard sale discount.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
You want your house to sell at a discount? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, that's what you're doing right now. I'm like very matter of fact about it. Like, if
Love
you
it.
want to say yes, say yes. If you want to say no, I just move on to the next thing.
Yeah. I
You
love
have
that.
to have this mindset. You have to have the mindset is, I don't need this business. I
I
want
love
to
it.
help you. If you want to help, I'm here. If you don't, bye-bye. Call me when you want the help.
I love that. And Maria, that works and that is powerful because you're talking to new people every day, right? Like if you're only having 2 conversations in a whole month, you're not saying no to anybody. You're like, you don't have the ability to. You've got to have people in the pipeline. You've got to be having conversations every day. Then you can disconnect from the outcome a little bit. You're like, hey, I don't have to beg for this business. I don't need to say yes to this crazy seller. I can go and I can say no to this person. Or like you said, if they end up being a crazy person, you can fire them. Like, no, I don't need to work with you. Right? Like that is such a different position than a lot of agents are in, because you're in control. You're in control. And in a listing appointment, you've got to take control. You've got to take control. You can't just go wherever the seller wants to go. Like you've got to go in there guns blazing and at least take control of the situation. Otherwise, they're going to control the situation. Who knows where they're going to take you?
The other thing is, I call it a consult. So it's a buyer consult, seller consult. So I'm not, going on an appointment. Like an appointment, I'm going to a consult.
Consult.
Mindset shift. Language that we use matters.
Yeah.
The language we use matters. The other day, I explained to expired how I work. I said, I'm going to go. She's not here. She's somewhere else. She's in Philly. I said, I'm going to go see the property. It's vacant. I'm going to assess the situation. I'm going to give you the prescription, basically. I think that's all. And then I gave her in good faith, I gave her my contractors, this and that. But I said to her, I'm going to send you a listing contract. I'm going to leave the price blank because you're going to decide what things you're going to fix in the house or not, and then we'll decide on the price together. And then you'll sign that before we go live, right? So she didn't sign the contract. This was Thursday, Friday. So Saturday morning, I text her and I'm like, please, I said, hi, whatever her name was, Betty. I said, hi, Betty. Please sign the listing contract this weekend. Thank you. And she wrote, I haven't hired you yet. And I wrote, okay, are you going to? And she wrote, no, not like this. Talking like that to an employer wouldn't fly around here. I'm like, I sent back a message. I said, number one, I'm not anybody's employee. Like, I wrote this whole thing. I'm a skilled broker. I diagnosed the situation. I told you up front, transparently, what I was doing. And, like, good luck. Good luck trying to sell the house that has a drug dealer on the corner. You bought the house from some agent who you felt pressured by. Good luck. You can't. Here's the reason I'm telling you this. You cannot help everybody.
True. 100%. There's some clients you have to say no to. There's some sellers you have to say
no. And it's because in this case, all these things don't happen to you. They happen because of you. Now, if you're going to buy a house in Philadelphia, you should probably check out the block before you hire. I was there 10 minutes and there was 2 drug deals done on the corner. Okay? It's a crappy block. Yeah. I never would have bought there to begin with. And I never would have paid what they paid. And then owing all this money, have their note due in June. This is because of you. You're in this situation. Yeah. Right? You're blaming the listing agent who was the buyer's agent. Like, he could have told you that there's a hole in the basement floor where the heater is and you can see, or anybody with eyes can see it. No first-time buyers buying that house like that without it repaired. But there's, you gotta tell people the truth. And then they can decide what to do with it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I love that. And here's the next one on your list, which was surprising to me: open houses, right? Because when agents think about lead generation and open houses, they think buyers. Open houses are you never really sell the home on the open house. The open house is to generate buyer leads, right? So how do you flip that on its end and go, hey, how do open houses become an opportunity to generate listings, Maria?
Well, you have an open house and you have 8 signs around that neighborhood that say open house, open house, right? With the arrow. That's the arrow. And then your sign has Maria Quattrone, and there's 8 of them around the house
Advertising.
advertising.
Yeah, and every weekend they see them, right? In that
And you
neighborhood,
could
like,
put
holy
more than
cow,
8. You could put more than
she's
8.
here again. Holy cow.
When we had this development years ago, it was 12 condos. We put 30 signs out every Saturday and Sunday.
I love that.
30 on the main
Wow.
street in Philadelphia. On Broad
Wow.
Street, there were signs with my name. In fact, some the agents got mad because I had all these signs. You could put all these signs. Nobody's stopping you. I'm allowed to put signs out. But
I love the petty jealousy. I love it.
but there's also sellers come to open houses
Mm.
that live on
Neighbors,
the block.
nosy neighbors. Why not? 100%.
And if they're not going to buy this, the buyer is not going to buy that house. They'll buy something. So if you want more listings or buyers and a certain price point, you go to those open houses.
100%. I love it. And you've got one more here, which another one I didn't really expect. You've got video plus social media. Video plus social media, so you can build your brand while you prospect. Okay, so you got to tell us, what does that mean? Build your brand while you prospect. How do you use video and how do you use social media to get yourself out there?
Video. I mean, I did, and I'm going to redo this, but I think it was 438 days. I did live every single day.
Wow. That's a year and a half, like a year and a half, 18 months straight of doing lives on
And now,
Facebook, Instagram.
and now I have 635, no, 735 pages transcribed from it.
Wow.
I have so much content. I have content. I have enough content for 4 books.
Wow. And
as of now.
So let's unpack that a little bit. You would go, how do you go live that? I mean, like,
It
did you
was
talk
tough.
about like neighborhoods? Did you talk about buyer and seller tips? Like, was it everything? Was it focused on buyers and
No,
sellers?
I talked
Was
about
it
all
content for the audience?
whatever was happening that day. I talked about it.
Wow.
So I could talk about how I met with the seller today. Here's what happened. Here's what I could tell that story I just told you about Betty, who said this
100%.
to me. Like
True story.
I'm her bitch. I ain't nobody's BITC. I could tell all kinds of stories. I'll be walking on the beach, taking a walk. I could be wherever. I've had situations where I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do the video yet. And it was 10 or 12.
Wow.
And I got on StreamYard and I went live. It was almost midnight, but I made it. It happened a couple times.
No, that's crazy.
I was sick.
So
Even when I
you
was
just
really sick, I got on in my pajamas.
That is crazy. So, and again, if you're not, if you're watching this and you're saying, how can I possibly do that? If you're not taking 192 listings, you got time. Like maybe even Maria's got, I mean, you got time. You either have a lot of business or you have a lot of time. Like, it's usually one or the other. So you've got plenty of time to do it. And I love how you're, it's like what Gary Vaynerchuk says, the marketer. He says, if you run out of ideas for content, well, stop thinking of new things for content. Just talk about what you just did. Document. Don't
Be a
create.
reality.
Document.
Be a reality TV show.
Reality TV. Everybody loves real estate. Everyone and their mom loves real estate. And you're telling stories from the trenches, right? Like, that is super compelling. Like, people love seeing those things. And Maria, just from talking right now, I know you're pretty good at storytelling. So those must have been some really good lives, right? So people would want to see, they want to know. Real estate is one of those topics we're fortunate.
I'd run into people and they would be like, were you out last night before the I had a couple of that happened. Like, I was out. Yeah. I came home. I was a little tipsy. You can tell if I'm tipsy because I'm like, But or they would say like, hey, I heard you talk about whatever. I mean, people were watching because even if they weren't saying anything, I know that they were watching because they would tell me what I talked about.
100%. They can watch, even if they don't want, people miss this. Even if they don't watch you live, they can watch you later. If they watch one or two, the
Oh, don't
algorithm will
worry
keep
about them
serving
watching
them
it
up
live
every
or
day.
not. That's not the point.
Doesn't matter.
They'll watch it later. And now,
Yeah.
if you want to highlight one, you could pin your video up on the top and you could repin every week a new one. But this business happens over time, right?
Yeah.
It happens over with a mindset. It happens with doing the right thing when nobody's looking. It happens in having building that reputation. My name, nobody could ever take that from me. It's mine. Being authentic. I'm What you see is what you get. Like, I'm not a different person at home than I am at work,
I love
which,
that.
is good and bad, I guess. But
It's authentic. It's real.
be
It's
you.
real.
You're the
People
only
want
one
that.
who can.
I love it. I love it. And Maria, I mean, there's so much great stuff here. And one thing I want to tell folks that, yeah, maybe if this is going to be your first year really going into listings, focusing on listings, maybe you're not going to get 192 signed listings. Maybe that's not a realistic goal. But Maria, let's wipe away the past 30 plus years. Let's say Maria's starting from scratch, from zero in 2026. What goal would you set? How would you even think about that, right? What kind of number would you put in front of yourself? Is it like, I want to these many appointments? Do I want these many listings, these many closings? Give it into context for the people that are just getting
So
started out there. They might be intimidated. What would you set as a goal for this next year if you're just getting started in 2026?
I talk to 25 people a day.
Oh wow. That's pretty
I'm just
straightforward. That's a
starting
nice
out.
round number. Yeah.
25 people a day.
Period.
Period. So you need to know
Wow.
your numbers. I know how many.
Yeah.
For every 5 people I talk to, 4.8 actually, I set an appointment.
Wow. That's a real, so, I do this for a living. That's an amazing conversion rate from conversation to appointment. That's
Yeah.
crazy, right? That's really, really good. And and for people listening to this, you're not going to start there. Let's just be clear.
No.
It's probably going to start
You
at
might
5 to 1.
talk to 25 to get one.
25, 30, 25, 30 is a good number. 25, 30 is a good number. Like, that's a
But
decent
so
conversion.
I'm starting over again. I'm focused on getting a listing every week
Wow. That's a
if I'm
good
starting
goal.
over again.
25
And you
conversations a
know what?
day, listing every
It's
week.
totally, totally possible because if you talk to 25 people, that's one, and you only can set one appointment, that's 5 appointments. You can't
In a
take
week.
20%.
It's a good conversion rate. Yeah. And put this in the context, in the US every year, it's like, what is it? Like 1 out of 10 adults is going to be party to a real estate transaction. One out of every 10 people on the street. Like, you see 10 people on the street throw a rock, you're going to hit a seller or a party or a buyer or a seller. You're going to hit a party to a real estate transaction, right?
Yeah,
So this
you
is
should be
not that
wearing your
hard.
name pin. It should say, Maria. It should say,
Yeah.
Realtor. You should
Yeah.
have this thing. Oh, wait, let me see. I think it's over here. Is it over here? Here. Look. This
Oh,
is, you could put this on the back of your computer. It has a sticky thing.
I love.
Here's
Oh, so it's like
something.
you're in a coffee shop or something. You can just put it on the back.
Yeah, here's what's in my office right now. Ouch. Trying to get this off here to show you. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to rip it.
Smile and dial. I love it. That's it. That's all it's about. 25 conversations a day. I love that. That's a very achievable goal. Like I said before, if you're not super busy with business, you got a lot of time. And if you're just getting started, you got to put in the reps. You got to put in those reps and you got to get started with something you can do every day. I love that.
You gotta put the reps in because if you don't, guess what? Sorry, I'm plugging in because it's dying. If you
Oh yeah,
don't,
no worries.
somebody else is going, somebody else will.
Yeah.
So think about that. If you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it and have the business. Why would you want that to happen?
Yes. 100%. It's in your control. It's something that you control, right? I love that. So, anyways, Maria, we can go on for an hour now. You know, I appreciate it. Actually, we're way, people don't know this. We were way past the time we had originally booked. So I want to thank you, you know, for giving us, indulging us, and all this great information. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to drop a link to this piece of content, to this PDF here on the interview. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the show notes. If you're watching it in any other social media, it's in the comments below. You should check out this PDF. I only went through, I'm not joking, I went through less than one page of 8 pages. That's what this hour was about. We went through less than one page of 8 pages in this content. So you guys
That's
go
right
there and check it out. And you should definitely attend Maria's.
So the consumer moves and the buyer moves.
If you're serious about making a listing first business. So Maria, thanks so much. Appreciate you. Anything else you want me to mention? What other way can people reach out to you?
Yeah, they can always DM me I'm on Facebook or Instagram, but I'm on Facebook most of the time. Maria Quattrone, Quattrone. I'm in Philadelphia. I'd love to talk with you. So
Yeah.
get the more listings now, free download.
And reminder, when's the book coming out? You gotta tell us, when's the book coming out?
Well, the book, look, wait, I can show you this. I'm walking. Oh, don't die on me. Look.
We can make it.
Look.
The manuscript. Oh, it's done. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a nice one. Nice.
It just has to get formatted, and I'm working on the cover.
Okay, perfect. So books coming out.
And
so next time we talk, it's got to be about the book. So
it will be about the book. Yeah.
Yeah, I will set that one in the future.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, if it's a good one, it's going on the wall. Right. There's
I am going to be on that wall, Gustavo.
There's some pretty decent real estate.
I see who's up there.
Yeah.
I'm making it to the wall.
All right, sounds good. Maria, as always, this has been a joy. Thanks for bringing the energy, bringing the good vibes and just the mindset for people, because this is achievable, this is doable, and I love hearing from people that are in the trench, that are doing the job every single day and sharing those best practices. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, and have a great, so people know, this is a Friday afternoon. Maria, have a great rest of the Friday. Have a great weekend. All right?
Yeah, it's almost 6:30 here in Philadelphia, so.
All right, awesome.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much.